honestly, I didn't think when we started these videos at the start of the Euros that we'd be sat here doing pub football, previewing the final with England playing. I'm so excited. The game against Denmark, I don't even care about the performance. It wasn't the best performance, but we got through it. That's the main thing. Euro 2020 final, Sunday night, 8 o'clock, Wembley, England, Italy. Jimmy, this is as good as it gets, isn't it?
It's a big moment for our country, isn't it? I'm very excited. We're 48 hours away from the start of the game. I'm already nervous. I'm already concerned. I feel sick. But I can't wait. I'm so pleased that we've got there. Fair play, Gareth Southgate.
I mean, the thing is, we've got there. So for me, it's a successful tournament. I mean, yes, of course, we want to win something. But in a one-off game, in a final, it can go either way. Getting to a final is huge. It's the first final we got to tonight since 1966. This is no mean feat. And you come out of this tournament going, already it's a success, but let's go and win it.
Yeah, I think I said just before the game to you, I was more nervous about that semi-final because it is that psychological barrier that we haven't quite got past over the last, 20, 30, 40 years. And we're finally there. And as you say, it's a massive occasion. We're at home. I have lots of optimism, a bit of confidence as well, which is great. And I'm hoping we can see it through. Wouldn't it be great? I've got Monday booked off. I could be more happy. So,
well, we almost didn't get there. I mean, going 1-0 down to a cracking free kick, and then what has been called a contentious penalty. I thought it was one. I see contact on both sides in the box. So for me, that's a pen, which Harry Kane missed. I mean, pick your moment to take one of the worst penalties ever. At least it wasn't in a shootout, so at least you can get the bloody rebound. But just that moment was just ecstasy. But the performance wasn't good, and it needs to be better against Italy if we've got even a chance of winning.
Yeah, of course. I was surprised by how good Denmark actually were. They created chances. It looked okay. I always had that feeling with the amount of possession we had, we would get over the line. It was just very, very nervy. And as you say, Kane, worst penalty ever. So much pressure on him. I'm delighted Schmeichel had a bit of a shocker there and it came back towards him. But yeah, I also loved the last sort of, 3-4 minutes of extra time where we I think I looked at you and went, we're fine. We'll keep the ball. We'll be all right. And we did it. We actually did it. And that just proves how far we've come as a nation. Like, we used to just whack it out of play and hope for the best and get back in position. Kept the ball. Brilliant.
It justified Kieran Trippier coming on for Jack Grealish. And yes, there can be the argument, well, why didn't Sterling go off? And and to be fair, resting Sterling's leg for 15 minutes wouldn't have necessarily been the worst thing. But he'd been so good throughout the game. I can sort of understand it. And it seems from what Gareth Southgate's been saying that Grealish is absolutely fine with it, doesn't care. We're in a final. He'll probably play quite a big role in the final. So I think the substitution ended up working because Trippier was instrumental in keeping the ball. The thing about Kieran Trippier is, although he's not a starter, he just brings this level of calmness when he plays, doesn't he?
Yeah, agreed. As you say, I think second half especially, I think we were talking to each other going, well, he's got to make subs, he's got to do more here. We had some tired legs out there, but he got it right again. And taking Grealish off was a big, big decision, and it worked out. I do think we got a little bit fortunate the fact that obviously Denmark went to Baku. They looked out on their feet by extra time. I think we got away with it slightly because the second Kane scored, I think they'd pretty much given up by that point. And yeah, we're there. We are there. Brilliant.
I mean, there were some lucky decisions for both sides as well, to be honest. There's petitions going out for the game to be replayed because they didn't think it was a penalty, which is just ridiculous. There was contact. I don't see them overturning it. Plus, I think Harry Kane should have had a Stonewall penalty at the end of of normal time. Apparently, he fouled them on the way in, but I'm not really sure where.
Yeah, agreed. It was a Damsgaard from Brentford. It was a clear penalty, wasn't it? We're all up in arms at the pub going, well, it's got to be a penalty. And what goes around comes around, doesn't it? And we got what we deserved, definitely.
And if you're going into real semantics, Denmark's free kick shouldn't have stood because the wall moved before the ball was played, got too close to the England wall, obstructed the view of the goalkeeper. This is football, swings and roundabouts. And luckily, for once, after the amount of decisions England have had go against them, hand of God, ghost goal in 2010. There's so many. It's nice for it to go in England's favour. Already the mind games have started. Chiellini saying that the tournament was set up for England to win because they played all their games at home. So does the host nation at every tournament. Just because this one's had a bit of travel in it, again, England have lucked out, and maybe we've done less travel. But
also, Italy played all 3 home games in Rome, so they can stop moaning. It's group games, sorry, so they can stop moaning already. It's one of those things, and obviously we've had a slight rub of the green going forward, but we've taken it, and other teams might not have. And yeah, I'm very, very excited. I'm a little bit nervous, like you are. Italy have got some really good players, but if we play to our maximum, we'll win the game.
What needs to happen from an England standpoint, if you compare it with the Denmark game? I know that both of us didn't think Calvin Phillips had a good game, but he's been getting a lot of praise in the media, so I don't know if they're seeing something we're not. We felt that it was his usual energetic self, but it just let us down a little bit on the ball, especially in the first half. But we're not in the majority in thinking that.
Yeah, I've listened to a lot of podcasts after the game, and you're right. I feel like we're watching a different game at times. I thought we didn't win any second ball second half. We were always just off the pace. And every podcast I've heard afterwards has gone, "Oh, we dominated. We're in control." We might have been in control, but we were still second best at times. And that against a better side, that's going to cause us real problems.
Second ball issue was a real problem for me. We didn't win anything. We didn't pick up any scraps, and it wasn't necessarily a lack of energy and intensity. It's just for me, it was footballing brain. The players were never anticipated where the ball could drop. They never got there, and that's a worry when you're playing teams with slightly more quality, like Italy. We gotta clean those up. That's what Calvin Phillips and Declan Rice are there to do. They're there to get that second ball. You want them to be getting it at least 60% of the time, so that means you win your midfield battle.
Yeah, agreed. And as you say, you've mentioned the players like Jorginho, Verratti. If they manage to pick up that second ball and they can counter, we might be in slight trouble. That's the difference. We're playing against better opposition, aren't we? And yeah, I just hoping for a bit better. Would you change the shape? Would you go to back 3?
I don't know. And the reason I'm saying I don't know is because they don't play with wing backs, do they? They play a back 2. They play a back 4. Emerson will bomb on. That's what he does. The right fullback does get forward, but I think he's slightly more conservative. That's what we almost done it Mourinho-esque with Tottenham, where he'd have Ben Davies like tuck in and let Serge Aurier just go and do what he wanted, because they were doing that with Spinazzola, and Emerson's going to try and do that role. So it almost becomes that they can attack with that width, but I think it would be very harsh to drop anyone from the semi-final. And the only player you're really dropping, who I don't think Southgate would drop, it would have to be Mason Mount.
Yeah, agreed. I think if we went to 3-4-3, Mount is the player you'd think, well, is he going to start? Where is he going to start? And I think we need 3 in midfield to combat their midfield, because we need to be in their faces. We need to get the ball back. We need to make sure we close down those players who are very, very good in possession.
Yeah, well, I would say to Mount, you're on Jorginho, because we've seen in the Premier League, international football suits Jorginho. There are some players, and I've heard it asked earlier on today, why is Jorginho so good for Italy, but not quite as good for Chelsea? Even though I think second half of last season, since Tuchel came in and brought Kante a little bit closer to him, he became a lot better for Chelsea. But that's, again, it's Kante taking 2 players away from him. So for me, the reason why he has had some struggles in the Premier League is the pace. It's the intensity. And that's what we need to bring to that midfield. We need to say, right, let's play Jorginho like it's a Premier League game, because Verratti and the other midfielder, you know his name, what's
Barella. Yeah, Barella.
Yes. They're not going to do that Kante role. They're not got those legs in there with him. So if you can get Mason Mount to be like, right, you need to make sure that Jorginho has 1 touch, 2 touches maximum. There's no time for him to take anything more. No time for him to ponder his pass. He has to go straight away. Get on him. I would say to Calvin Phillips, you're man marking Verratti, a bit like Koke did in the Spain game, because I think I think Italy were very lucky to get through that Spain game based on the play. And then Declan Rice is the one there to mop up and to pick up the ball, and that's how I would do it. But I'm sure Southgate has his own plan that's definitely going to work better than mine would.
I think you're right. There was a lot to take away from that Spain-Italy game, the way their midfield kind of alienated and just stopped Verratti doing anything. And I think if we do a similar thing, we've got a real good chance. And I love the way Dani Olmo was dropping deep and getting in those little pockets where Chiellini and Bonucci are kind of got to go, but aren't sure about if it's a good idea to do that. And I think Kane can do that as well. Just drop deep. You've got the runners. You've got Saka. You've got Sterling in behind him. And I think that's how we might win the game, actually. If he drops deep and turns, we've got a great chance.
Like the first goal against Denmark. He dropped deep, played across to Sterling. And that's the way we're going to win. It reminds me of when we played Spain. I think it was 2018, 2019, where it was Rashford and Sterling, wasn't it? And Kane dropped in and pinged the ball over the top.
Yeah.
Chiellini and Bonucci don't have pace. There's not pace back there. And we do have pace. And that's why I wouldn't change the system, because I want to get on the front foot in this game. You can't drop Kyle Walker. I still get frustrated with him going forward. And when Italy have conceded goals, apart from the Morata goal, which was beautifully crafted by Spain, they've been from crosses. Austria had the ball in the net twice. First one was ruled out, and then they scored from a corner. Delivery is going to have to be good. Walker doesn't have that, but you need him for me on Insigne going the other way.
Yeah, agreed. As you say, I wouldn't change too much from the side. I know we had our dodgy moments at the back. I thought Pickford was a little bit out of sorts. And I hope, obviously, he gets his kind of act together for a massive game ahead. But I think the Spain game gave me a lot of confidence that we can beat Italy. They're not as good as I thought they were at the start of the tournament. I think there are chances and there are areas where we can really, really dominate, and we can take the game away from them. And I think we can win this game. We can comfortably win this game.
I think Pickford will be back in this game. I believe that he steps up against better opponents. It's I honestly think there was more pressure in the semi-final than the final.
Oh yeah,
and I think that's one of the problems. Yeah. There was more pressure because England were expected to win. When England play against good teams, Pickford tends to have a blinder. When it was the second half against Ukraine, he sort of wobbled, and then Denmark, he's wobbled. Playing against really good players with Italy, where he doesn't have the time to think about it, I think we'll see a better Pickford. I think Maguire and Stones will be fantastic, and I mean Harry Maguire getting through 120 minutes straight back from injury is pretty blooming incredible, and I think he's been an unsung hero of this tournament. England have completely changed since he's come back in, and that's not to take anything away from Tyrone Mings, who did well, but just we look so much more assured and more comfortable on the ball with Maguire at the back.
Oh yeah, he's a quality player, isn't he? And his leadership, his quality on the ball, the way he commands any aerial threat, he's just fantastic. And yeah, it's good to see. And I'm confident that Immobile, who hasn't done too much in the tournament, can be snuffed out. I know the wide players have been pretty decent. Case is a good player. Berardi's a decent player. Obviously, Insigne is the one to look out for. I think if we can just keep them quiet, I think we've got enough quality going the other way, definitely.
Do you think we can keep them quiet?
I was concerned by the amount of chances Denmark managed to create with not too much of the ball. It seemed that every time they went forward, they looked really, really dangerous. And it does worry me that maybe on the counter with a bit of space where you leave it to the better players, they can create chances, and they've got better quality. I do think we will concede, but I think we'll win the game. And I love the fact that we came back from being goal down against Denmark. We played really well after we conceded the first goal, scored a great goal, and I always felt like we were going to get over the line. And I think it's going to be the same this time around.
I think Calvin Phillips needs to be a bit more disciplined. Like second half against Germany, it's just, I know we said about following the play around. He needs to stay slightly more central for me, because that's where a lot of the chances are conceded. When it breaks down, Phillips is gone. He goes almost, and then you just get left with Declan Rice by himself in the middle, and that's easy to bypass.
Yeah, agreed. As you say, I love the fact he loves to bomb forward. He just does random things at random times, which is brilliant. But there are times in a game of this level where if we do get the break of the ball goes the other way and we are under the cosh, we need him in position. We don't need him 20 yards ahead of play. He needs to be where he needs to be. Yeah. And I hope he just sits there, does the right thing, keeps the ball, and just has a good performance.
You say you think that we're going to concede but win. Italy have only conceded 3 goals in 2 years. Are you sure we're going to score twice?
I think the facts will have a absolutely raucous 60,000 behind us. The country is absolutely mental at the moment. I've seen people walking down the road already in England shirts. It's 2 days away, yeah? Calm down, lads. I'd love it. And I just feel like we're on that wave at the moment. And a goal. I feel like a goal against won't destroy confidence. We'll come back into it, and I feel like we're going to do it. I really do, and I hope we sit here on Tuesday, whenever we film, when we're not hungover, and it's the right result. We can sit with a smile, and go brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, something tells me we're probably not going to be in the headspace to film.
Oh,
or
God,
maybe it'll be the perfect time to film. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. But because we've done it every time, let's quickly go through Southgate's lineup. We're expecting it to be exactly the same, I think. So Pickford in goal, Walker, Stones, Maguire, Shaw, Rice and Phillips, with Mount in front, Saka, Sterling, Kane. Agreed?
Yeah, strong.
All right, and I think you've hinted towards it. Score prediction.
2-1.
I would never, ever, ever predict against England in a final. You don't predict against your side in a final, do you? It's just,
no.
You can't. And I genuinely feel this. I feel it's coming home. I feel like this is England's tournament. It's been incredible. But I'm going to be a bit more cautious than you. I think we might just do it 1-0. And we might keep it tight. And if we concede only 1 goal all tournament, that is fantastic. And that was a free kick.
What I don't want, what I'm going to say right now, what I don't want is us to score after 3 minutes and sit back for 87 minutes. Do not do that. No. We've seen it before. I'd love us to win 1-0, but don't do that. Come on, we're better than that.
You know, against Germany, we scored late and we still played. If we score after 3 minutes, I'm going to be going nuts as long as we play afterwards. So, I mean, I think this is going to be one of the most excited, nervous, incredible pub football endings you're ever going to see, because it's the final of Euro 2020 on Sunday and England are in it. There's only 2 things left to say. Cheers.
Oh, come on, England.
It's coming home.
God, yeah.